Hey, everybody. Happy July. You are watching, I think you're seeing Hoops Wire Live on 330 to go. NBA basketball talk in July. You know, I'll start with a quick story. I was thinking of this last night, and then we'll get into Cavaliers talk and LeBron James talk. Of course, I've been covering the Cavs for some time now. I remember in 2012 when Bruce Drennan invited me. For those of you who know Bruce Drennan, the longtime sportscaster, used to do a show called All Bets Are Off on the old Sports Time Ohio network. I guess it's not that old. It's only a couple of years now, but that they've merged into FanDuel Sports Network. But Bruce Drennan, in July of 2012, called me to come on his show. And I remember thinking, how great is this that I'm going to be able to talk about the NBA in July? And I thought at the time, that will never happen again. I'll never talk about the NBA in July again. So this is cool that I'm coming on this show in July 2012 to do that. Well, guess what? I have talked about the NBA every July since then. And you have to now. Well, number one, the Cavs are at Summer League, which tipped off last night. I have a story on hoopswire.com about that. I can tell you real quickly what I'd like to see from the Cavs in Summer League. Jalen Tyson, who had a nice game, kind of even running the offense after Craig Porter Jr. went out with a hamstring issue. It doesn't sound like it's anything serious, but I'd be surprised if he plays in the Cavs next summer game on Saturday, I believe, against the Denver Nuggets. So I like what I saw from Jalen Tyson. And, you know, since we've last been here, the Cavs have traded for Lonzo Ball. They drafted Tyrese Proctor in the second round. They drafted another guy who looks like a nice player whose name I can spell, but I have no idea how to pronounce yet. And I thought he did, that guy, number 58 pick in the draft, did a really nice job in the Summer League opener. He's going to remain overseas. So for right now, he's just a prospect who's going to play internationally. So anyway, Tyrese Proctor's the other guy. I think he's going to be a two-way guy. And by that, I mean a guy who's going to play a little bit with the Cavs, a little bit with the Cleveland Charge, probably more with the Cleveland Charge, the minor league club in the G League. And I wanted to see Jalen Tyson because the reason I bring all this up is because I think Jalen Tyson is the one guy that the Cavs are kind of relying on from these youngsters who next year is going to be a regular part of the rotation. And I say that because they traded Isaac Okoro for Lonzo Ball. I think, now I don't know if the Cavs think this, but I think that Jalen Tyson could be an upgrade over Isaac Okoro. I think he'll bring more offensively. He'll be more consistent in that area. He even plays with a little more energy. And this is not shots at Isaac Okoro because he certainly brought some positives. But I think Tyson will be a better player for the Cavs moving forward. And the Cavs hope that as well. So, which is interesting because Isaac Okoro was the number 5 overall pick. Jalen Tyson, I believe, number 22. He was in the 20s last year in 2024. So that's what I really want to see from Summer League. I'm not too worried about Proctor. I thought he looked good. He had a couple of nice threes to catch and shoot threes to start the game. But he struggled a little bit when he was putting the ball on the floor and they were up on him, Tyrese Proctor. But, I mean, one game of Summer League. Here's something to keep in mind about Summer League. Derrick Rose, who was a fantastic NBA player when he was healthy, was so bad in Summer League, I thought, boy, did the Bulls really mess up. Now, that was years ago. 2011, I believe, was when he won MVP, so I don't know, would have been 2009 or something. But he had a fantastic career until he got hurt. But he looked terrible in Summer League. Closer to home, one of the best Summer League players in NBA Summer League history was a guy named Anthony Bennett. The Cavs drafted number 1 overall, and we all saw what became of his career. And I'm not kidding you. Go back and look at his summer league stats. He was absolutely dominant. The issue with summer league is it's not team basketball. It's not really truly NBA basketball. It's a bunch of guys going kind of almost one-on-one to try to make the team. You know, the guys who are already secure in their positions, they're not going one-on-one. You know, I watched Cooper Flagg and Bronny James and Jalen Tyson and these guys who already are, you know, they're already in the league. They're moving the basketball. They're playing team basketball. They're not forcing any shots. They're relaxed. I thought Cooper Flagg might have forced a little bit because I think he knew, okay, everybody expects me to score 30. But, you know, to me, it's these guys who are secure on their NBA and their NBA positions. You can tell those guys compared to the guys who have desperation in their eyes. That's like, I have to try to make the team. So from the Cavs, Jalen Tyson, Craig Porter Jr. Those are the two I'll be watching the most. And I really liked Naquan Tomlin. Kenny Atkinson went on the NBA TV broadcast. Those of you who aren't familiar with him, he was on a 2-way contract. He could be Kenny Atkinson, when he went on NBA TV, said Naquan Tomlin could be in our regular rotation next year. He has that chance. The Cavs are going to need someone like him. He's 6'10". He hustles. He plays hard. He can hit threes. He can score down low. He's just very what NBA scouts, they use this word all the time with me. He's very raw, meaning he needs more reps in the NBA. He still makes those rookie mistakes and all that, but could he potentially be a guy? Look, the Cavs, they signed Larry Nance Jr., who's back home. So they got a little bit of size there. The one thing I'll say about Larry is as guys get a little older, and it's hard to believe that Larry is a little bit older because he's 32, which in NBA is not super old, but it's moving up there. Once guys get like over 30, their games start to move a little bit further away from the basket. And Larry's has done that. But I will say that he still adds athleticism under the basket. He's so great to have in the locker room. He'll fit that culture. And he's, you know, he likes to poke fun at me, which is a key, I think, to success on the team. And actually, he's over the top respectful. And that's what I demand when I walk in the locker room. So, you know, I like going in the locker room still, even though I don't do as much reporting as I used to do from the locker room. I still like to go in there because now I'm at the age where all the players treat me like their favorite uncle. So, or sometimes least favorite. And Max Strus always looks at me like, you know, what's this old guy doing in here? But it's funny. Sometimes Max will make jokes and maybe they're a little bit off color sometimes after a win. And then I'll look over at me like, oh, sorry. You know, like I didn't realize there was a grown up in here or a grandpa. But anyway, I think Larry will be a fine addition. Both Larry Nance Jr. and Lonzo Ball, they just have to stay on the court. And that's where they've struggled the past couple of years, especially Lonzo Ball. He missed 2 years in a row with a mysterious knee injury that finally seemed to resolve itself. And then he played 35 games with the Bulls last year. Looked pretty good, I thought. And then went out with a wrist injury and missed the rest of the season. What I will say about Lonzo Ball, what I really like about this move is if he can stay on the floor, those physical defenders like the Pacers that we saw, the Thunder, other teams that got physical with the Cavs and kind of took them out of their offense, Lonzo Ball is not going to be impacted by that. He's going to be a guy who can get the ball up the floor against physical pressure. He's a great teammate in terms of he moves the basketball, He's he can hit outside shots, but he's not looking for his own all the time. He is looking to get other people involved. He's really the consummate point guard when it comes to running the offense. We've seen his brother LaMelo, and LaMelo can take the Hornets out of the offense sometimes looking for his own shot. Lonzo does not do that. Lonzo is a very steady hand. Assuming he could stay on the floor, he's also an excellent defender. So, if he can stay healthy, the Cavs win that trade with the Bulls, which they sent Isaac Okoro to Chicago. So I like the addition of Lonzo Ball a lot. I like that trade a lot. The key is, can he stay on the court? Because he's been unable to do that. I look at it like this. If Larry Nance Jr. and Lonzo Ball can each give the Cavs in the regular season 50 games and then be healthy for the playoffs, they should contribute to a huge winning cause. Right now, I think the Cavs are getting to the finals. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Indiana Pacers lost Tyrese Halliburton, right? Terrible. Achilles injury, out for all of next season. The Pacers came out and said he's out for next year. They lost Miles Turner in a shocking move. He went to the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, so there's two starters that you're without. And the Pacers weren't a star-laden team. They were a team that worked very well together, almost like Hoosiers, right? I think Gene Hackman, as Coach Normandale and Hoosiers, his line was 5 pistons pumping all at the same time and working in harmony. That was the Pacers. They've lost 2 of those pieces. I would venture to say they're not going back to the finals next season. So the window's wide open. The Boston Celtics traded Drew Holiday. They traded Kristaps Porzingis. Now, Boston did that because they have new ownership, and they were so far into the luxury tax. They had to pay so much money to keep those guys that they offloaded them. And now George Niang, our buddy George Niang, is with the Boston Celtics now. Isn't that wild? From the Cavaliers to the Hawks to the Celtics within the span of like 3 months. So, they're going to be without Jason Tatum all season. So now they have Jaylen Brown, Derek White. I don't know who else is going to be there. Al Horford's gone. You lost 3 starters off a team that won a championship 2 years ago. These are teams getting adjusted to the new labor rules. They went out of their way to overpay guys, not realizing that these new labor rules were going to kick in. And that is what happened with the Boston Celtics. It happened with the Phoenix Suns, who traded Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets, bought out or are in the process of buying out Bradley Beal and kind of starting over there. Former Cavs assistant Jordan Ott is now the coach of the Suns, who are all Michigan State guys. The owner of the team, Matt Ishbia, is a Michigan State guy, played at Michigan State, and now he owns the Phoenix Suns on that team. I believe it was the year 2000 that they went to the NCAA finals with Mateen Cleaves, won the championship. Matt Ishbia was on that team. Brian Gregory, their new GM, who replaced our old friend James Jones as the Suns GM, is Brian Gregory, the new GM of the Phoenix Suns, is also a Michigan State guy. And Jordan Ott, who was an assistant under Kenny Atkinson last season with the Cavs, is now the head coach of the Phoenix Suns and also a Michigan State guy. So I don't know if the rumors are true that they're going to change their colors to green. But who knows? Who knows? It's a very Michigan statewide connection there in Phoenix. As far as the Cavs go, well, owner Dan Gilbert, also a Michigan State guy. And quite frankly, he and Matt Ishbia do not care for each other. And I think that has something to do with their businesses. That's just the rumors. I've heard that when the NBA owners They have the NBA governors meeting in New York City every year. Ishbia and Dan Gilbert don't talk. So, I don't know. Money, I guess, doesn't always buy you contentment. Anyway, here at 330 to go, of course, it does. It buys you happiness. And I found out today it also buys you coffee. So that's all I need. I think I'm getting a little off track talking about the Phoenix Suns, Michigan State, and whatever else. Let me start with this. I've shared this story before, and I love this story. Larry Nance Jr., last summer, he had just been traded from the Pelicans to the Atlanta Hawks. New Orleans Pelicans to Atlanta Hawks. I'm at a playground, not that I go by myself. I was with my youngest child, and Larry Nance Jr. was there at this playground with his child and wife, and I'm at this playground and I see this guy standing over there, and I thought, from a distance, my mind immediately went to judgment. I was like, oh, who's this tough guy? And then that was just kind of in my own mind. And then I looked over because I'm like, wow, that guy's really in great shape. And then as I got closer, I'm like, wow, that guy's really big. And here it was Larry Jr. And let me say this, just been traded from the Pelicans to the Hawks. He's wearing a Cavs t-shirt. That's how I first noticed him. I'm like, oh, look, that guy's wearing a Cavs t-shirt. Like, you don't even play for them. But so he is very, very, very excited to be back here, playing here. And I'm positive he wants to finish his career in Cleveland with the Cavs. So it's good for him to be back. He's obviously a fan through and through of the organization, because when he's playing for the Atlanta Hawks, he's still walking around in Cavs gear. All right, now I'm sure you've all tuned in for the LeBron James talk, Kevin Love talk. Kevin Love, of course, traded from the Heat to the Utah Jazz. I think that the NBA should mandate a rule. If you're over the age of 35 and you get traded to the Utah Jazz and the Jazz waive you, you immediately have to retire. That would be my setup if I were running the NBA. But that's what it's going to happen. It sounds like the Utah Jazz are going to waive Kevin Love. He's on almost a veteran's minimum contract with 1 year left on it. It's a very small buyout. I don't think he will be back in Cleveland. Now, this is the NBA, okay? Luka Doncic just got traded this past season. Anything is possible. So this isn't any inside information. I just don't think that Kevin Love is coming back. We'll start there, okay? I will say this. Kevin Love did not, when he was here last time, it did not end well. I heard he got into it with Kobe Altman a few times, the Cavs GM, president of basketball operations. I think there's probably some truth to that. Kevin was very upset that he wasn't playing under JB Bickerstaff, if you remember that. He wanted that buyout so he could go somewhere and play. And when he went, he contributed on a Miami team that ended up going to the NBA Finals, if you remember. Very minimal contributions. Last year, when Kevin Love was on the floor, it was usually, garbage time. Or you had like 4 guys in front of him injured. So given how that ended with the Cavs, which wasn't, this is the NBA. People have issues all the time and get over it and put past issues behind them. I just don't think the Cavs, put it this way, I don't think the Cavs should bring him back for sentimental reasons because he won a championship with the team. And if they brought him back, that would be the only reason. He's not an NBA contributor much anymore. I don't know that his leadership skills are super strong. Kevin's a great guy, so don't get me wrong, but he's more like one of the guys as opposed to a Tristan Thompson who's in there coaching up other players. Kevin's not going to do that. That's just not his personality. So I think it's a really, really long shot that Kevin Love comes back. And if he does, don't hold out hope that he's going to be contributing, because that's not really the case. He just look, man, everybody except for me gets old, right? So it's just that's just where he is in his career. So I think Kevin Love's a long shot, and I don't think the Cavs should bring him back. I would not be a fan. I would not be in favor of that. Since I know Kobe Altman is sitting at his desk right now watching this show and saying, I better wait to hear from Amico. That's my opinion on Kevin Love. Don't bother. Go out and get a younger guy. Give those minutes to Naquan Tomlin, who's and if it's not Naquan Tomlin, go out and sign somebody else. A 7-foot. Well, there aren't that many 7-footers in the world. Did you know my nephew and I actually Googled how many 7-footers there are in the world? In the entire world. I think there's less than 100. And then you think about, okay, how many of those guys played in the NBA? I bet 50% of the 7-footers in the world have played in the NBA at one time or another. It's all it takes. It's all it takes. Can't teach height. United States population, 340.1 million, okay? So I don't know what percentage of that would be 7-footers, but I'm waiting for Steve to figure that out. But I think there's, he's giving me the thumbs down. I think there's like 50 some 7-footers in the United States. How many 7-footers have been in the NBA? At least 50 over the course of time. At least. So if you're 7 foot tall, you're not going to find a better job. Learn to play basketball. Learn to chew gum and walk at the same time, and you're on your path to a multi-million-dollar contract. All right. So I think the Cavs can figure out a way to fill in that last front court spot. Even though they signed Larry Nance Jr., I still think they need another 6'10" guy, a guy who could play center or power forward. Doesn't matter his height. I don't care if he's 6'7", as long as he's down there physical. Lamar Stevens, somebody like that can help relieve Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. Kenny Atkinson, by the way, on the NBA TV broadcast during the Cavs Summer League game said he expects that that Evan Mobley should be in the NBA MVP conversation in 2 or 3 years. He said, if he's not, we haven't done our job. He needs to be in the NBA MVP conversation. And you know what? Evan Mobley, NBA reigning defensive player of the year, second team all NBA, just turned 24 years old. Kenny Atkinson's right. He should be in that conversation. And I think that he's on his way. That aside, LeBron James. What's going on, man? I mean, first of all, he picks up his option, and now we're hearing stories and rumors and reports, and I think some of them are true. Some of them come from Akron's own Brian Windhorst, who is, I have a great deal of respect for, visit with him sometimes, and I don't want to say we're friends because Brian would probably deny it, but I will say that we really like each other and get along. And when we see each other, we talk about things like this. But anyway, he's come out and said, look, it's highly unlikely LeBron plays anywhere else but the Lakers next season. Highly, highly unlikely. There's no way. And I'm going to go on the record saying this. And it's hard to say with a straight face because, again, this is the NBA. There is no way he will be playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers next season, and probably never again. If he plays for the Cavs, it's going to be kind of, in my opinion, a kind of, hey, you're 46 years old. We'll put you in for a couple of minutes. I don't think that's going to be in the cards. It's certainly not going to be in the cards for next season. The only way that would happen is if LeBron James said, I want to buy out with the Los Angeles Lakers and I want to go to Cleveland. That's the only way that would happen. And I don't believe LeBron James is there. Number one, he just picked up his option. So I do believe that there's some friction between LeBron and the Lakers front office, which is too bad because the Lakers are now on the hook for $53 million. So I do believe that that friction exists. I don't know why. Frankly, the Lakers have done everything in their power to get this team to another level, given their challenges of the salary cap. They got Luka Doncic in a trade for Anthony Davis. The Lakers won that trade. I like Anthony Davis, fine player, can't stay on the floor. He's 32 years old, 31 maybe. And Luka Doncic has 10 good years in front of him. They won that trade. Luka Doncic is a distributor. He can score at will. He's not a great defender, but so what? He's going to outscore his man. That's my philosophy in old man basketball. Well, I'm not going to stop my guy, but if I can at least outscore him, then I've done my job defensively. They went out and got DeAndre Ayton, who's the former number 1 overall draft pick, same year that Luka Doncic came out. Now, as a center, the Lakers desperately needed a center. They went out and got one. And look, DeAndre Ayton has not played so far in his career like a number 1 overall draft pick. He's looked more like a second rounder, late first rounder at best. But he's a starting center, and that's what the Lakers needed. And they went out and got him. I don't know what more they can do other than if the Lakers are wanting to move on from LeBron James, they're in big trouble. And they might be. Because they're looking at this like, okay, where's the one area that we cannot take this next step? And that's LeBron James, because he's going to be 41 years old. Still a fantastic player. Not a guy who's going to lead you to championships anymore. As one scout told me, the thing about LeBron now is he's more of a volume shooter. He's not as good of a distributor as he used to be. But every once in a while, he'll have those moments in games that remind you that he was once LeBron James. And I thought that was an accurate description. There'll be moments where he'll just explode to the basket, or he'll hit a three, or he'll do something that reminds you, man, this guy can still do it from time to time. He's not going to do it consistently. And that's okay. I mean, he's 40 years old. He's still top 10, top 15 in the NBA. Donovan Mitchell's a better player now. This is just the way it is. If you're talking about next season, Donovan Mitchell's a better player. Evan Mobley's a more valuable player. LeBron can still do things to help you win, but he's not going to be the reason you're winning. So, I will say this. Here is what I know. The Cavs' interest in a LeBron James is incredibly minimal. What I just told you, him having to say, I want a buyout with the Lakers, and to, that's a big check for the Lakers to write, a buyout. That's not cheap. I want a buyout and I want to play for the Cavs. That's the only way it would happen. If he got a buyout with the Lakers and he didn't say that, Cavs wouldn't be pursuing him. They might call Rich Paul and say, does he want to come play for us for the minimum? Because that's all we can pay him. That's what it would take. And that's not going to happen. What LeBron is doing now, he knows exactly what he's doing. And I don't blame him. I mean, if he's unhappy in his situation, he did the right thing by, I'm going to first pick up my option, which he did. And then I'm going to express unhappiness. But I have a no trade clause in my contract. So if only 2 players in the NBA have no trade clauses in their contract, LeBron James and Bradley Beal. And Bradley Beal is about ready to get bought out by the Phoenix Suns and waived. So I just think that if LeBron were to take a buyout, which I can't see him doing, but if he were to do that, I don't think the Cavs would not be running to go get him. I guarantee you that. They're very happy with where they are. They're 64-18. They made a couple of trades. Would LeBron be a good fit with their current core? Of course, he'd be fantastic. He'd fit right in. But the way to win a championship nowadays, as we've seen, because we've had 7 different champions in the past 7 years, is not to stock up on big names. It's to be the Indiana Pacers. It's to be the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's to be the Cleveland Cavaliers with a strong, still young core. And I'm sure they would be just fine with DeAndre Hunter starting at small forward, bringing Max Strus off the bench, or vice versa. I think DeAndre Hunter is going to start this next year. I do. That aside, the Cavs' interest is incredibly minimal. LeBron once said, and this was directly to me, it was in a group setting. He looked at me and he said, "Wherever I go, drama follows." And I joked, well, what's the common denominator there? He kind of laughed. But that's kind of the, and it's not all LeBron's fault. It's just there's a media contingent around him, and it would bring drama. LeBron himself, I mean, he's been in the league, 21 years? Kept his nose clean. Never gets into any kind of trouble. We've never heard, in 21 years, we've never even heard of so much of a speeding ticket. He only does good things for the community, or tries. He gives a lot of his money to the community, his hometown. So when I say drama, I mean basketball drama, right? And it's just because when I'm covering the Cavs now, I'm one of like 8 people. During the regular season, it might be down to 4 some nights if they're playing like the Charlotte Hornets. But when LeBron comes, every game is an event. And that anytime you have events over and over and over, drama is going to follow just naturally. Not because of anything LeBron's doing. It's just going to follow. Sometimes because of what LeBron's doing, and I mean that strictly in a basketball sense. Right now, he's creating drama himself. We saw the picture of him at the Cavs practice facility with Denver Jones, who I'd never heard of. I don't think any of you have heard of him. I don't know that he played in the Cavs' first summer league game. He's a guard out of Auburn. His mom, Denver Jones' mother, posted a picture of her son with LeBron James on Instagram at the Cavs practice facility last week. The internet exploded. And LeBron had that picture got out and started making waves. LeBron's at the Cavs practice facility. LeBron had to go on social media and say, "You guys, come on, go enjoy the sunshine." I've worked out at the Cavs practice facility every year for the last 10 years or whatever during the off season because of my home is right not far from the Cavs practice facility. And my response to that was, yes, you may have worked out there every year for the last 10 years, LeBron, but this is the first year you agreed to take a picture knowing it would get on social media and cause a stir. As I've said, and I say this in a loving, joking way, but there's some truth to it, he's trolling us, okay? That's what's known as trolling. He liked a picture of Allie Clifton, and I believe, was it Richard Jefferson? And wearing Cavs t-shirts on Instagram and said, they're in the right gear. He knows what he's doing. He knows he knows that's not going to be kept private. He's saying it in a very public forum. And of course, we all hop on, right? He wants to come back to the Cavs because he liked the shirt. You know what? If I'm LeBron James, I want to come back to the Cavs too because they got a really good thing going. I know people are like, well, they can't get out of the second round. LeBron will lead us to a championship. I don't agree with that. Could. This isn't the same. LeBron James would have to accept being the fourth option most nights. And I think he would. He's not an egomaniac to the point where he wouldn't. I think he'd be just fine with setting up Evan Mobley, playing off Donovan Mitchell, playing off Darius Garland. I don't think that Donovan Mitchell would care for that reunion. And it's nothing personal. Donovan Mitchell, and again, don't take this as a shot as LeBron James. I've been covering the NBA full time since 2007. I've been in the Cavs locker room since 2007. I have never seen a better leader, and that includes LeBron James. I've never seen a better leader than Donovan Mitchell. He's always lifting up his teammates. Always. He's always keeping spirits incredibly high. The Cavs, since Donovan Mitchell came to Cleveland, have had zero drama. Zero. And a big part of that is because of Donovan Mitchell and his leadership and his personality. He always, always, always takes the blame. Not publicly, in the locker room. It's my fault we didn't win tonight, guys. I let us down. It's night and day. LeBron's leadership is strong. It's just a different style. LeBron's leadership is much like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant's leadership, which is, you guys aren't getting it done. And you know what? Sometimes players need to hear that. Your teammates need to hear that. When you're dealing with greatness, like Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, you'll hear them say a lot, we didn't do this. We have to get back to defending. We have to do a better job of moving the ball. What that means is these other guys in uniform need to pull it together. Donovan Mitchell doesn't say that. I have to do better at this. It's just a different leadership style. And I think most of your teammates are going to appreciate a guy like Donovan Mitchell, who's always, always falling on the sword for you. So this is Donovan Mitchell's team. He's the face of this team. He's a good face of this team. And I think the Cavs have hit a couple of roadblocks in the playoffs. Have you seen Donovan Mitchell in the playoffs? He's been amazing. Amazing. Donovan Mitchell's playoff run this last year was much better than LeBron James of the last 2 or 3 years. So you bring LeBron James back to Cleveland. Guess who's no longer the face of this team? Guess who's no longer the leader of this team? Guess who's no longer falling on swords for teammates? It really, really messes with things. And I don't know that it means you're any closer to a championship. What happens to LeBron or the Cavs every time after LeBron leaves? You have to blow everything up, right? And then they stink for 2 or 3 years. The Cavs are on a very good course. And when you throw a personality and a super duper star into that situation, it may not be all good. Look where the Los Angeles Lakers have been. The past 4 years, Lakers have lost in the first round in 3 of them, including 2 years in a row. And LeBron's not suddenly going to get younger. Not everyone can be Benjamin Button and myself and reverse aging. I'll do an entire podcast on that at some point too. But I believe Steve is laughing at me right now, which maybe he's not in favor of that show. Anyway, I'll say this. LeBron James is not coming back to the Cavs. I think the Cavs are just fine with that. I would love it. My website, I'm not saying that as a hater or anything. My website page views would triple. You know, they would. We're writing about LeBron James with the Lakers and all that drama, and it's already going way better than it ever has in July. LeBron James brings traffic. He brings money to the community. He brings a lot of positives. Would it enhance the Cavs' odds of winning a championship if they keep their core four? Probably. Not definitely. I'm not going to say definitely. I would say probably. Because what works for the Cavs is what worked for the Indiana Pacers and Oklahoma City Thunder this past year. And what has worked for the Denver Nuggets when they won a championship, the Milwaukee Bucks when they won a championship 2021 over the Phoenix Suns. What worked for the Phoenix Suns? It's been less about super duper star power. Now, granted, look, the Thunder have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The Nuggets have Nikola Jokic. These are all younger guys, though, right? The Bucks have Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Cavs have Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley and Darius Garland. While some of you were frustrated with him, I thought he had a career year, and he was compromised in the playoffs because of his toe that he immediately had to have surgery on after the playoffs. He tried to play through it. So Cavs are in a great spot. I think they're going to go to the finals. I really do, as constructed. But I think they need a big man to help with your. And guess what? You don't have to get that today. Be helpful. You don't have to do that today. It's July. You can wait until January. You can wait to see who gets bought out at the February trade deadline. You don't have to do it today. You can go into the season. Darius Garland's probably going to miss the first month with his toe. So you can go into the season. You don't have to start 15-0 again, right? You got to be at your best when it means the most, and that's almost a year from now. So I think I've gone on long enough. I can't really see the timer today because my eyesight is, despite the fact I'm reversing in age, my eyesight seems to be struggling today. But anyway, that's my thoughts on all that. I would say LeBron James not coming back. Ever. I don't even think he's going to sign a one-day contract with the Cavs to retire. Some people are saying, well, maybe he'll do. I don't think he will. And it's nothing personal. It's just, I just don't see it. Kevin Love, my opinion is stay away. There's no point. Nice fella. No point bringing him back other than for sentimental reasons. And why bother? You already did that with Tristan Thompson. You need someone who can play. And Tristan Thompson had his value in the locker room. I don't think Kevin Love would bring that same value. So, that said, keep an eye on the Cavs summer team. I'm sure I will join you soon, depending on what Steve says after the show. But there's another 8 days of summer league at least, right? I think next Saturday, a week from Saturday, is the championship game in Las Vegas. All 30 teams are represented in Las Vegas. Cooper Flagg, Bronny James had their big game Thursday night. I thought both guys looked good. I know Cooper Flagg struggled 5 of 21 shooting, but again, he did so many other things that I thought, okay. Because don't forget, Victor Wembanyama was 2 of 13 shooting in his first summer league game. It's just, these guys are just, they're getting used to playing with guys who are all trying to make the team as opposed to playing team basketball. So you can't put much stock in summer league. But I thought he looked great otherwise. Other than his shooting, he looked to me like a Scottie Pippen type, probably an improved version of Scottie Pippen. And don't forget, Cooper Flagg at the end of that game against the Lakers blocked a shot into next week at the end with a score. I think Dallas was down 1, and then he drove down the length of the floor, found Andrew Nembhard's younger brother, Ryan Nembhard, for an open shot, and the Nembhard knocked it down, and the Mavericks won that game. So And Bronny missed a 3 at the buzzer. Got a good look. But I thought both those guys look like Bronny's going to be a reserve for most of his career, I'm sure. But Cooper Flagg, to me, looked like the real deal other than his shooting. So, Summer League for another week. Cavs will be got to win a couple of these games. And I don't know that they're going to be able to do it without Craig Porter Jr. We'll see. So until next time, thank you so much for indulging me. I hope you're staying cool. I think that when I came in, Steve told me it was 137 outside. So stay somewhere cool, stay by the pool, and make sure that 330 to go and hoopswire.com are on your phone at all times. All right. Thanks so much for joining, and we will talk to you next time.